Hayes gets blocked by Maya Caldwell. Something flies on the court.
And the object is still down on the floor, or there was something green that was launched.
With situations like this, there could be copycats. I have a feeling that every WNBA game is going to have like a window detector in front of every entrance, like an inner city school in Chicago.
Throughout my career, I've made some absolutely unhinged content, but I need you to brace yourself because today, what I'm about to tell you is so bizarre, so completely unhinged, that if I didn't have receipts, you'd think I was making it up. We're talking about a 23-year-old dude getting arrested for the most bizarre reason we've ever seen in basketball history. A WNBA player literally predicting her own misfortune on X, and 3 separate incidents that exposed cracks in what should have been the WNBA's greatest season ever. But here's the crazy part. This isn't really about what you think it's about. And stick around because by the end of this video, you'll understand why green adult toys flying across women's basketball courts reveal something much darker about where sports culture is headed. So before we get to the content, this video is probably gonna get demonetized, so make sure you drop a like just so you can boost this video in the algorithm, because once videos get demonetized, they don't get shown to as many people. And now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? So let's set the scene. It's 2024 and the WNBA just had its best season in history. I'm talking about attendance up 48% according to NBA Communications. 54 million unique viewers per the official WNBA report. Corporate sponsors are funneling money into the league. Caitlin Clark comes in as a rookie and basically breaks women's basketball. Her games averaged 15,591 fans versus 7,645 for all games that don't include her. We're talking about a 105% increase in attendance when she plays. Everything looks perfect on paper. The WNBA is finally getting its moment. But remember what I said about things not being what they seem? Well, underneath all those shining numbers, there was drama brewing that would make a reality TV show jealous. On July 29th, 2025, the Golden State Valkyries are facing off against the Atlanta Dream. There's 1 minute left in a tied game. This is literally the most intense and important moment that you can imagine in a basketball game. And I think that's one part that no one is really talking about. The game could not be any more intense as both teams are trying to vie for a game-winning shot. And at that very moment, during a timeout, a 23-year-old Delbert Carver decides to make history in the most insane possible way. So picture this, you're watching what should be an incredible finish to a basketball game, and suddenly a lime green toy comes flying through the air towards the basket. The TV cameras catch everything. A security guard is trying not to laugh while he's removing it with a towel, and Delbert, he's getting handcuffed and walked out like he just committed a felony. According to the police affidavit reported by Fox News, Carver told officers that this was supposed to be a joke, and this joke was supposed to go viral. Well, mission accomplished, this did definitely go viral. But at the same time, Carver got charges for disorderly conduct, public indecency, and criminal trespass. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is important for what comes later. Carver wasn't trying to make some sort of political statement. He wasn't protesting player salaries or league policies. This was pure attention-seeking behavior, and remember that because it matters when we get to the bigger picture. So you think that one brave idiot throwing a toy on a basketball court would be enough, right? Well, wrong, because the story gets even more insane. Social media just took this and ran away with it. Within 8 days, 2 more incidents happened with the same exact type of objects, same disruption during live play. And this is where Sophie Cunningham enters our story, and trust me, you're not ready for this plot twist. After the second incident, Cunningham, who plays for the Indiana Fever, decides to speak up, and she tweets, "Stop throwing these toys on the court. You're going to hurt one of us." Which is a pretty reasonable request, right? Well, on August 5th in Los Angeles, the Indiana Fever are taking on the Los Angeles Sparks, and here's where the story gets absolutely wild. Sophie Cunningham's own mother texts her before the game, "Watch out for the fly flying toys tonight. And I'm not making this up. Her mom warned her about adult toys at a professional basketball game. In the second quarter, Kelsey Plum is lining up for free throws, and you wouldn't know it, another object comes flying through the air and hits Sophie Cunningham's foot. The player who literally asked people to stop doing this becomes the victim of the exact thing she warned about. Her response on social media was pretty funny though. She said that didn't age well, and you gotta respect the sense of humor, but you also have to think about how insane this situation is. We're at the point where players are warning about toy projectiles and their moms are texting safety reminders about adult toys. Now, before you think this is just about some random trolls being idiots, let me tell you why this matters so much more than you realized, because these three incidents happened during the most explosive period in WNBA history, and I'm not just talking about attendance numbers. Remember how I mentioned that Caitlin Clark broke basketball? Well, she also broke something else, the entire culture of the WNBA, and that's where the story gets really complicated. So Caitlin Clark comes into the league and immediately becomes a target for physical play, and that goes way beyond normal basketball. And for those of you guys that are just following along, I'll give you a brief recap as to what happened to her. On June 1st, 2024, the Chicago Sky are facing off against the Indiana Fever. Kennedy Carter delivers a blindside hip check that sends Clark flying. The foul gets upgraded to a flagrant after video review, and Carter's post-game response was this.
I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said. I didn't say anything.
That's enough.
Then in the playoffs, DeJounte Carrington's hand catches Clark's eye, leaving her with a visible black eye, and no foul was called. Each of these incidents goes viral, and each time the same pattern emerges. Here's the pattern: physical play against Clark, viral video clips, mainstream media coverage, and then, here's the key part, increasingly toxic fan responses targeting the players involved. Carrington received threats on her life filled with racial slurs. Alyssa Thomas reportedly experienced unprecedented racial abuse from Indiana fans during the playoffs, stating, "In my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base." Now here's where the adult toy incidents start making more sense. Clark didn't just bring in record crowds, she brought in an entirely different demographic. The league that once prided itself on being predominantly female, LGBTQ friendly, and focused on athletic excellence, suddenly found itself sharing arenas with younger, predominantly male fans who had zero connection to the league's 28-year history. At New York Liberty games, something unprecedented happened. There were lines for the men's bathroom. That had literally never been a thing before. And here's the kicker: many of these new fans weren't drawn by basketball excellence, they were drawn by social media controversies and culture war narratives. Think about it. The adult toy incidents weren't protests about player treatment or league policies, they were attention-seeking behavior designed to go viral. It's classic social media troll tactics invading a professional sports environment. But wait, there's another layer to this mess, because right in the middle of all this chaos, WNBA players decided to make their own statement about what they're owed. In our last video, we cover this. On All-Star Weekend 2024, 22 All-Stars walk onto the court wearing matching Pay Us What You Owe Us shirts. Players Union President Nneka Ogwumike doesn't hold back, saying, "We see the growth of the league, and as it stands, the current salary system is not paying us what we're owed." And the numbers do back her up. WNBA players receive just 9.3% of the league's revenue compared to the NBA's 49 to 51% split. While the average NBA player earns $11.9 million, the WNBA max salary caps at $249,244. And I don't want to sound repetitive here because this is literally what our last video on the subject is about, and we're going to leave a link to it in the end screen if you guys missed it and you want to get the whole story and the arguments on each side. But the major problem that the WNBA has is they have not ever had a year where they were able to go positive. They've consistently generated a loss in revenue year after year, and I've been subsidized by the NBA just to keep the league alive. So at the end of the day, these three toy incidents really represent something different for the WNBA. They're not just isolated pranks by bold idiots. They're symptoms of a league experiencing explosive growth while navigating a complete cultural transformation. The WNBA spent 28 years building a respectful, athletic-focused culture that attracted dedicated fans who understood and appreciated what the league represented. Then Caitlin Clark brings mainstream attention competition, new demographics flood in, and suddenly you have people throwing adult toys for viral clout, while other players are receiving threats on their lives for hard fouls. And at the end of the day, you can't have it both ways. The WNBA is trying to implement lifetime bans and pursuing criminal charges against disruptive fans, and at the same time they've strengthened security protocols and launched harassment monitoring programs, but they're also riding the wave of unprecedented popularity. Caitlin Clark's impact could eclipse $1 billion for the league, according to NBC News. Do you risk that growth by being too aggressive about policing fan behavior? So here's what I want you to think about. The WNBA just had its most successful season ever by every measurable metric: record attendance, record viewership, record revenues, record corporate investment. But at what cost? When professional athletes need threat tracking protection, when players are warning about adult toy projectiles, when mothers are texting safety reminders about dildos, have we really succeeded? The 3 adult toy incidents will eventually be forgotten. Delbert Carver will serve his time and hopefully learn something about consequences, according to the Daily Caller. And there will be other copycat pranks that will find ways to see comical attention like this. And personally, I can't wait, because on what other YouTube channel will you find a video that is this long just discussing the cultural impact of throwing dildos onto a basketball court? If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and check out our last video on the WNBA. I'm going to leave it in the end screen and I'll meet you guys there. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.